All right. There's a lot of things going on in the marketing world. And when things change, I always like to bring on Christine Packer, our senior growth strategist. Christine, thanks for being here today.
Yes, hello.
So, today I want to talk about search. And I talk about search a lot when I go on podcasts and just kind of start helping people with marketing fundamentals, right? And like, what's the difference between advertising for search versus advertising to a demographic? And when we advertise to a demographic, typically that's when we're really focused on trying to get our target market to understand what we do. It's great for new products, innovative products that people certainly wouldn't search for, and to get that demographic to go, "Ooh, wow, that looks cool. Let me learn more." But when we are marketing at search, we are marketing for need, right? I always use the plumber example. Oh my gosh, something has gone terrible in the house. I need a plumber. So now I'm searching. I'm searching on Yelp. I'm searching on Google. I might be searching on YouTube if I think I can fix it myself. Um, but two of those three examples, and if you're not a local company, if you're B2B, SaaS, something like that, Yelp isn't even on your radar. But those two examples, Google and YouTube, are in the same ecosystem, right? They're both owned by Google. And so traditionally, we think search, we think marketing for search, we think marketing for need, we think Google. But we're in a new day and age. 2 years ago, ChatGPT came into our lives, and now Search GPT is in our life. We also have smaller search engines, DuckDuckGo, as well as I think my grandma still uses Bing. I think your grandparents might as well. Some others may too. Sorry if that offended anyone. You you Bing heads, keep going. But let's talk about search and how much it's expanded. Like, if I'm a company and I want to make sure that I am in front of people who need what I offer, like, where do I need to have a presence?
Yeah, you need to have a presence everywhere. Super general, we don't want to hear something like that, but when we're talking about being available and being searchable as a business, whether you're B2C or B2B, you're behind the ball if you're not thinking about every single search engine. Before, people put an emphasis on just Google. Bing was kind of falling behind. However, that has significantly changed because with the coming of Gemini and ChatGPT, they are pulling from search engines like Bing. And so, staying optimized not only for Google, but for Bing as well is critical to staying with the new marketing times with AI, because ChatGPT and Gemini are pulling from those search engines, and DuckDuckGo is also included in there.
So we always look in Google and we've got, when we really break it down, there's the on page optimizations, making sure your site is moving quick, making sure that everything's nice and lean, organized, really easy for Google to understand it. You've got good content that's very relevant, and then you have, the backlinks that are coming towards that content so that people know, or so the search engine knows, it's obviously this is a little bit more relevant. And so that's kind of just this three-headed monster of getting high in organic Google searches. And obviously you can pay to be high in Google searches as well. Certainly a big part of what we do with Google ads. But what about search GPT? How the heck I mean, we run a business, we do a lot of B2B marketing, and a lot of technology consulting, all sorts of things. How do we get at the top of a search GPT result?
Yeah, one of the best exercises that I recommend companies do when thinking about search engine optimization and content creation is going through and trying to pick apart how AI is identifying all of the content and resources they are. So, for example, somebody says, "What are the top B2B marketing agencies into ChatGPT or Gemini?" They'll populate a list of what those top agencies are. Then, to better identify how you can get on that list, start asking questions to AI saying, "How did you pull this list? What was the criteria?" And then getting in deeper of, "Okay, well, what makes somebody reputable? Why would you pull that?" And start to really pick apart the different elements that AI is looking at. And that can help you tailor content to make sure that you are part of that competitive market.
I love that. I think that's fantastic advice. And I guess I don't know if we're still in the infancy. Like, we're still figuring out. My big joke is with AI. It's like there's AI for show and there's AI for dough, right? There's some things you see there, like, wow, that's cool. You're like, yeah, but I don't really want to watch a movie about fake people. And then other things you're like, oh my gosh, that makes my life so much easier. So when you're evaluating these two things, and like I know there's a million different AIs, but the two that I think for search purposes people will probably be leaning into the most would be Gemini, which is part of Google, and then Search GPT, Chat GPT, which is part of Microsoft.
Yep.
Is it too early for us to identify how these two are different? Is there a way that is it kind of just stick to the fundamentals for both? Maybe ask each of them how they, find their answers versus one another. How do we balance these two different entities and, I even identify what where we might want to deviate strategies based on which one we're using?
Yeah, I think holistically, having a general approach for AI search engines in general works. But if you are wanting to target a specific platform, playing around, asking those questions on each. So, going through that exercise on Gemini, going through that exercise on GPT, and kind of seeing how they differentiate there. But also make sure you're not forgetting about Bing or Microsoft's version of Search Console, and that you're analyzing those tools and dashboards, not just Google Analytics and Google Search Console, that you're reviewing the data on both for Bing and Google. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. So this expanded world of search, right, that is now going far beyond Google. We talked about AI. We've talked about, some of the newer search engines. What is some more like non-traditional searches? Would it be certain things like social media, TikTok, Instagram? Where else is search expanding to that marketers need to be paying more attention?
Yeah, so glad you brought that up. In terms of hashtags on social media, that's a dead practice. Still, people are using them, but mostly what it's coming down to is SEO strategies in your captions and ensuring that you have different alt texts within your social media posts. It's getting more robust in that sense that SEO is not just on the web anymore; it's now on social media as well.
I love that you said that. We're filming this right before Thanksgiving, and I am going to smoke my first turkey. And so I was doing some searches last night, and all of a sudden, like the Reddit search gets to the top of the Google search, right? And so then I'm like getting in. I'm like, oh, there's some guy named like I don't. This is not his name. Something like Mean Joe Green, and he's like this barbecue hat. And so I'm like, okay, this guy. So I search Google for this guy's turkey tips, and then about 5 of his TikToks come up, and I'm not even on TikTok, but I
Mhm.
start watching his TikToks, and this is what's getting the most organic results within Google. And now I feel like I got my brine ready. I feel like I know, how I'm gonna smoke this bird, and I'm ready to go. But it it's a journey, and there's this content that they're creating. It wasn't a blog post. We talk to B2B companies all the time. Oh, blog this, blog that. And I guess I would be remiss because you are, you run around the attack castle screaming, uh, video is king to all of us.
Yep.
Tell me more about video's role in search and how maybe when you're utilizing it more, it kind of goes into these different directions. Because I think, like I just mentioned, they post on TikTok, then I see it on Google. I'm sure if I search on TikTok, I find them as well. So tell me why video is king when it comes to really nailing your SEO strategy.
Video is king because it is useful, helpful, engaging content. The way we um digest content these days is through video, through visuals. And so when you have an engaging piece of content, whether that be a blog or a video, most likely the video is going to perform better because people can engage with that. That's how where our environment has led us to. So I always highly recommend video because it's going to keep people, if we think about it from a YouTube perspective, you're keeping people on Google, on YouTube longer by having engaging content, creating this web. If you bring in TikTok and whatnot, you're like, again, continuing this web of engaging content, and that will always be rewarded.
And so do we have a name for all of this expanded world of search?
I don't know the name. It's a wild. We're learning a lot. I think the biggest thing that I like to say is just make sure that you have a cohesive, engaging content strategy, whether that be written or video.
And then do your best to make sure that that is in all of the places that you need to be. So whether you're a plumber, you're a SaaS product, at the end of the day, you want to be at the top of every relevant search that's going to help you drive leads, drive business, and you can't just think through Google anymore. You got to think all across the board, AI, video channels, social, and make the best content you can to hopefully persuade people to come into your orbit, convert, and hopefully one day become your customer. Christine, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it for today. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit subscribe so you can see our latest videos as soon as they drop. We really appreciate you watching. See you next time.